Welcome to This Explainer, a Tube Duel original podcast. Today, we're going to trace the absolutely unbelievable history of YouTube. We're going right from its incredibly unlikely, almost awkward origins, all the way to how it became the literal foundation of the modern internet. It's a crazy story of accidental genius, massive bet-the-company gambles, and some really culture-shifting pivots.
To really put things into perspective right out of the gate, I want you to consider the number 500. That is the staggering amount of video hours being uploaded to the platform every single minute today. Just let that sink in for a second. Every minute. It's a scale that was completely unimaginable 2 decades ago, especially back when sharing just a simple home video meant wrestling with impossible file formats and endless download times.
So here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll look at a failed dating site. Then the virality flywheel. After that, the Google lifeline, followed by the copyright wars, and finally, building the creator economy.
All right, let's jump into Chapter 1, a failed dating site from tune in to broadcast yourself. Picture this, okay? It's Valentine's Day 2005. 3X PayPal employees register a new domain with the slogan, Tune In, Hook Up. Their grand vision? They wanted users to upload dating videos and have other people rate them from 1 to 10. Chad Hurley, Steve Chen, and Jad Karim hadn't actually set out to build a general video platform at all. They launched this dating concept to the public in May 2005, and, well, it completely flatlined.
I mean, this silence was literally deafening. Co-founder Steve Chen later admitted 0 videos were uploaded. They had a dating site live for an entire week with 0 user activity. Nobody wanted to do it. But here's where the genius kicks in. Instead of just folding up the company, they looked at successful photo sites at the time, like Flickr, and decided to strip away the dating angle entirely. They pivoted into a completely open, generalized video sharing model. Talk about a blessing in disguise, right?
Which brings us to Section 2, the virality flywheel and the tech that changed everything.
This is exactly where that accidental genius strikes again. Back in 2005, watching a video online was a nightmare. It usually meant downloading a sketchy file and just hoping you had the right codec installed to play it. YouTube bypassed those clunky media players entirely by using browser-based Flash video. It just worked. But their ultimate masterstroke? The HTML embed code. Suddenly, millions of people were dropping YouTube videos directly onto their MySpace profiles. They basically turned the era's absolute biggest social network into their own free organic marketing engine. And wow, did it work. This virality flywheel spun so wildly out of control that this scrappy little startup began devouring up to 40% of the entire internet's bandwidth. 40%. Can you even imagine opening that server bill? They were literally buckling under their own success. They desperately needed a massive $3.5 million lifeline from Sequoia Capital just to keep the site from completely melting down.
Okay, let's move into our third crucible moment, the Google lifeline, surviving astronomical growth. It's a fascinating David and Goliath dynamic here. On one side, you have Google, right? They had Google Video, which was this heavily funded, massive internal corporate project. On the other side, you have YouTube, an independent startup run by a handful of guys above a pizzeria, drowning in skyrocketing server costs. Yet somehow, Google was actively losing the video race to them. Enter Susan Wojcicki. After seeing the sheer obsession users had with YouTube, this brilliant Google executive realized they needed to swallow their corporate pride and just buy the competition. She pushed the board, and it led to a staggering $1.65 billion acquisition in November 2006. This maneuver was a game changer. It finally gave YouTube the immense infrastructure and deep pockets it desperately needed to survive. Now let's get into the really perilous phase, Section 4, the copyright wars, exploring existential threats and safe harbors.
You see, YouTube's entire existence hinged on one very specific legal shield, the DMCA safe harbor. Because users were uploading freely without any pre-screening, copyrighted material was absolutely guaranteed to slip through. The safe harbor provision essentially meant that as long as YouTube took down infringing content when asked, they couldn't be held liable. Without it, user-generated platforms simply couldn't exist today. But man, the fear was incredibly real inside the company. Their first general counsel, Zahava Levine, genuinely wondered if they would just get sued out of existence. And this wasn't paranoia. It was especially scary after brutal, highly hostile meetings with traditional media giants like Universal Music Group, who basically viewed YouTube as a massive piracy machine that needed to be shut down immediately.
Looking at it fairly, both sides had valid points. Media giants like Viacom were furious, famously suing for over $1 billion over unauthorized clips. But YouTube fought back hard. They vigorously defended their safe harbor status, and more importantly, they built a technological miracle called Content ID. This sophisticated system allowed copyright owners to either block re-uploads or, and this is the brilliant part, hijack the ads and take the revenue for themselves. These intense legal battles finally culminated in a massive 2010 ruling where a district court threw out Viacom's lawsuit, validating YouTube's business model. Content ID effectively turned potential lawsuits into a win-win revenue stream for rights holders, fundamentally securing the future of user-generated broadcasting. So surviving that war leads us right to our final chapter, Section 5, Building the Creator Economy, going from viral clips to professional careers. By launching the partner program back in 2007 and sharing ad revenue directly with uploaders, YouTube pretty much invented a brand new digital profession. It started out as the Wild West with super low barriers to entry. But as the platform matured, to ensure quality and brand safety for advertisers, they had to build the gates we know today, requiring 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours just to get a piece of the pie. And it's a platform that absolutely refuses to sit still. From celebrating internet culture with YouTube Rewind, to fiercely countering TikTok with the launch of Shorts in 2020, to modern structural updates like AI age estimation, it's in a state of relentless evolution, constantly adapting the experience for both users and creators. So I want to leave you with a provocative thought as we wrap up this explainer. YouTube went from an empty, failed dating site to an accidental empire by surviving bandwidth crises and billion-dollar lawsuits. But today, as artificial intelligence fundamentally reshapes how media is created, how is this platform going to adapt to the next 20 years of the internet? What will broadcast yourself even mean a decade from now? It's wild to think about. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey, and keep questioning what you watch.